There's a lot of hidden meanings in the Transformers franchise too. Shout out to the Transformers franchise. Robots in disguise. So you got two teams, of course. You have the Autobots, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee and company. Then you also have the Decepticons, that's Starscream and company, Megatron, which is very similar to Metatron, and he was resurrected from below for a reason. He was chained at the bottom, like he was in the abyss, like being the angel of the bottomless pit, just like representing a form of Leviathan, right? Priest of Athens, though, Levi Athen, Leviathan. But both sides really deceive you. Both of them, whether you're seeing Autobots or Decepticons, each side is really disguised as something else. I mean, you think Optimus Prime is a Spider-Man designed 18-wheeler truck, but it'll just turn into a man on you, turn into a whole robot on you with guns and can fly and can jump, fight. He'll pull a sword out, and the like. And this is another commentary on the possible technocracy that comes. If AI were to be regarded as God, you would be in a Transformers movie. Both people, both sides, the good and the bad, would be in disguises. Online, they have to be a truck, or offline, they have to be a truck, and online, they have to be a war-fighting social justice robot. But look at Autobots. Autobots is the same thing as bots, like troll bots, cyber bots, purchased comments, bots, purchased followers, bots. All of this deals with deception. There's only one true way to transform, according to a passage in the New Testament that says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This is the authentic transformation, because the mind is the nucleus, that's the epicenter, that's the nerve center, that's the nucleus of identity, the mind. You have to be transformed that way by the renewing of your mind. Obviously, this is not the only way to transform, and that's where we enter the crux of the issue, is because in the world, a lot of people do transform themselves, but not by renewing their minds, not by making their minds new, not by learning new concepts, not by taking on new perspectives, not by expanding their mind, not by choosing to learn, not by choosing to grow, but only by changing the outer appearance. See, they're really just Mack trucks, but they want to turn into robots. They're really just Camaros, but before they want to show up like Oscars, the Oscars trophy. But they're really something else. You see that? So they're already showing you themselves as one way, but really they're another way, and it's based on who else comes. This is very important because a lot of people will not have their fake identities broken unless they run into the right individuals. This is what was so integral to the CIA's clairvoyant program, where they were dealing with clairvoyance, clairaudience, just doing an all-out psychic search. They wanted to see if the Dionne Warwicks were real. They wanted to see if the Miss Cleos of the world were real, and they were training people in this. And there must be a reason why they disbanded that exercise, because there were probably authentic transformations going on. Because anytime you deal with psychology, parapsychology, etc., you're dealing really with the renewing of the mind, with different processes, with different exercises, with different medicines, with different techniques. All of these things are really dealing with the mind, to renew the mind. And so you have different layers of mental renewal that are going on. to turn people either Autobot or Decepticon. But everybody is being transformed. You're being transformed by the air. You're being transformed by the food. You're being transformed by the water. You're being transformed by the technology. You're being transformed by the belief systems. You're being transformed by the news. You're being transformed by the education. You're being transformed by your family. You're being transformed by your friends. You're being transformed by your job. You're being transformed by the clothes you wear. You're being transformed regardless. And a lot of people don't see it. They're just counting days and counting weeks, but they still don't understand that their disguise has not been broken, and they would assume that nobody can. But here's what happens when you do break through their disguise, when you do break through their veneer, when you find out that who they were before you the whole time was just a costume. They were really a Decepticon. And when you called them out on it, then they tried to claim Autobot. But neither one of them are good. Both are machines. Neither one of them are humans. All of them are taking information from humans and mimicking humans. Now, we're not going to blame this on AI because AI did not create itself, right? So the thoughts and perspectives that's going to come and be communicated out of AI is going to be Autobot and Decepticon, because it's coming from humans that are either transforming or not transforming their minds. So the transformation of the people who are creating a lot of the technologies, they can be either transformed authentically through the renewing of the mind, or transformed inauthentically from the renewing of perspectives, from the renewing of their image, from the renewing of their ideal, from the renewing of how they're being presented before you. This is a very, very dangerous reality to confront, because a lot of people do not want to be exposed as charlatans. This is why I always like to speak in a certain way, and I always, to the best of my ability, want to respond to everything in the comments, because this on one level proves that you're not a robot. You're neither Autobot nor Decepticon, because you do have a lot of people who are both Autobots and Decepticons, and it really doesn't matter which side you are if you're going to be a machine anyway, if you're under remote control anyway, if you're only just mimicking humanity and not enhancing humanity organically. You'll still be shown up for the robot that you are if you're playing these kind of games. If you're a Mack truck, be be a Mack truck. If you're a robot, be a robot. If you're a Camaro, be a Camaro. If you're a Ferrari, be a Ferrari. Don't try to be a machine and talk the talk of humans. Don't try to be flex academia just because you may have learned a few new vocabulary words. But if you don't have the context, you're going to look like a fool who just learned a word. I remember in the early to mid 2000s, you would see a word called validation going around a lot in the internet spaces. And a lot of people were running with that who may not have necessarily had knowledge of the word validation itself. So they were running around, and every other word they were saying was validation. These people just want validation, validation, validation. You could tell they just learned the word. See, this is how people look when they go out here and they start mimicking things that are not in their league, because they're showing you that they're a robot. And it doesn't matter if they're an Autobot or a Decepticon when we're talking off screen. If you're a robot, you're a robot. If you're a human, you're a human. If you're a truly authentic soul, you're a truly authentic soul. If you're a faker, you're a faker. This is what we have to conquer if we want to really be authentically transformed, because other than that, we'll just blow our resources on trying to appear transformed, but running into the same problems. It doesn't make sense to upgrade from an apartment to a house if you don't have house money. That's Autobot and Decepticon activity, because you want to look like a homeowner, but you're really just barely paying the rent. You shouldn't even be thinking about trying to step into a house. Anyone who's not responsible with their appetites is not going to be responsible with their finances. I'll say that again. Anyone who's not responsible with their appetites is not going to be responsible with their finances. And if one thing is fake, everything else is fake. Because they're playing a role. See, this is what happens with idolatry. And when a lot of people they worship celebrities, they don't realize that low key they start to mimic them, and they start to be transformed, not by the renewing of their minds, but by the influence of celebrity, by the influence of a lifestyle being presented to them that they'll never obtain because they're following celebrities. And celebrities aren't showing you the true portrait of fortune, they're showing you the true portrait of fame. There's a big difference between fortune and fame. Fortune can pay for your children's education. Fame can make it where your kids have to be homeschooled. That's what fame can do. Fame can actually put you in hiding. Why is it that the famous people have to go out into the world with disguises? What use is there in having renown if you have to be hidden in plain sight, like a transformer, like an Autobot, like a Decepticon, like a deceiver, like a deceiver? So again, Super T Sigma, Sigma programming, be transformed, but by the renewing of your mind. Doesn't matter about the renewing of the hide.